For most games, the ending is the reward. It's the final bow after you've learned the mechanics, beaten the enemies, and invested dozens of hours into a story. But alternate endings can complicate that neat finish. Suddenly, the ending isn't just one thing, it's a set of possibilities. Your friend may have seen a happy conclusion while you got something tragic. Someone else may have discovered a bizarre joke ending hidden behind a secret item. That difference matters because it makes games feel alive. In books and movies, everyone eventually sees the same final chapter. But in games, endings can diverge wildly depending on choices, performance, or even subtle behavior. That possibility encourages replayability, drives conversation, and transforms the credits from a destination into a branching map. Now we're about to talk about some games and the way they end. I'm not going to go into too much detail, so I don't want to spoil them, but just a heads up. Some of the earliest experiments with alternate endings came from adventure games like Maniac Mansion. It offered multiple finales depending on which character survived and how you solved the mansion's puzzles. It was clumsy, but it planted the idea that games didn't have to end the same way for everyone. The true breakthrough came with Square's Chrono Trigger. Depending on when and how you confronted Lavos, you could unlock more than a dozen different endings. One might show your party celebrating peace, another could focus on a single character's future, and another might reveal strange timelines where villains triumphed. There was even a whimsical developer room ending where you met the creators themselves. More importantly, Chrono Trigger introduced New Game Plus, letting you replay with your progress intact so you could actually pursue these alternate finales without starting over from scratch. Other RPGs of the era expanded the idea in different directions. Tactics Ogre let you make a single moral choice that split the campaign into law, neutral, or chaos routes, each with their own ending. Shin Megami Tensei titles pushed alignment systems even further, with your philosophy shaping not only who you fought alongside, but what the world would look like when it was remade. Star Ocean: The Second Story introduced relationship systems that generated dozens of character-specific epilogues depending on who liked or disliked your protagonist. By the end of the 90s, alternate endings weren't just gimmicks. They were systems, baked into RPG design, encouraging players to replay entire adventures just to see what if. Now, if RPGs use alternate endings to explore morality and time travel, survival horror used them to explore psychology. Silent Hill offered multiple outcomes based on whether you saved key characters and picked up certain items. Some players walked away with a hopeful good ending, while others saw Harry left only in despair. There was even a secret UFO ending where aliens abducted the protagonist, a gag that became a recurring tradition in the series. Silent Hill 2 took the concept much further. Instead of asking you to make explicit choices, it quietly tracked your behavior. How often did you heal? How much time did you spend with Maria? Did you linger on morbid diary entries or photographs? The game interpreted these actions as clues to James' mental state, and used them to determine which of several endings you saw. In one, James moves on from his grief. In another, he succumbs to despair. In the infamous In Water ending, he drives into a lake, consumed by guilt. And of course, there's always joke endings, including one where a dog is revealed to have been controlling everything. The brilliance of Silent Hill 2 is that its endings felt less like a menu of options and more like a mirror held up to the player. You didn't just choose an ending, the game judged you and delivered one that fit your actions. The subtlety made alternate endings feel more personal than ever before. By the 2000s, alternate endings became one of the defining features of RPGs and narrative-driven adventures. BioWare made them central to its identity. Star Wars: Knights of the Old Republic gave players the choice between a triumphant Jedi victory or a chilling Sith betrayal. Dragon Age Origins lets you decide who lived, who ruled, and how your warden's story concluded, with a narrated epilogue that reflected your decisions. But perhaps no series embodied the branching finale better than Mass Effect. The suicide mission at the end of Mass Effect 2 was a design triumph. Whether your crew lived or died, whether your ship remained intact, and how Shepard emerged at the end all depended on dozens of small decisions you had made throughout the game. It was less a single alternate ending and more a personalized crescendo, a unique story you authored through preparation and choice. Outside of BioWare, CD Projekt Red's The Witcher 2 offered a radically different middle game routes depending on which ally you chose. This led to different missions, areas, and ending. The Witcher 3 then refined the formula with multiple possible fates for Ciri, determined by small, easily overlooked choices in dialogue and behavior. That subtlety made replaying and comparing endings feel like detective work. And then we had narrative adventures like Heavy Rain and Until Dawn, which embraced alternate endings as their core feature. Who survived? Who solved the mystery? Entire casts of characters could live or die, and each combination created a different finale. Detroit Become Human took it even further by showing you a flowchart of every path you did, or didn't take, inviting you to replay just to fill in the blanks. These games made alternate endings into community events, with players swapping stories of wildly different outcomes. In more recent years, alternate endings have become even more experimental, breaking the fourth wall and questioning what an ending really means. Undertale turned endings into a moral judgment of the player. Spare enemies, and you see a hopeful story of friendship. Kill them all, and the game brands you as a destroyer, remembering your actions even across new saves. The genocide route doesn't just give you a different cutscene, it changes how the game and its characters treat you forever. Nier Automata took a different approach, structuring its entire campaign around multiple endings. What first feels like a repeat playthrough reveals itself to be a new perspective, and the true finale, Ending E, asks you to sacrifice your save data to help other players. It's an alternate ending that exists outside the story, touching the player directly. And then there's the Stanley Parable, which is essentially a game made entirely of alternate endings. Follow the narrator's instructions and you reach one finale. Ignore him and you find dozens more, many of them being absurd or satirical. Here, alternate endings aren't just content, they're the entire point, a commentary on choice itself. From Chrono Trigger's dozens of finales to Silent Hill 2's psychological profiles, from the sprawling RPGs of BioWare and CD Projekt Red, to the experimental narratives of Undertale and Nier, alternate endings have evolved into one of gaming's most powerful storytelling tools. They give player ownership over the narrative, encourage replayability, and spark endless debate over what counts as the true story. More than anything, they highlight what makes games unique as a medium. A movie ends the same way no matter who's watching. A book doesn't change its final chapter. But in games, your actions, your values, and even your mistakes can ripple all the way to the ending. And that means no two journeys ever have to end the same way. Hey, thank you as always for taking a little time out of your day to spend it with me. I truly appreciate it. If you're new here, maybe think about going down, clicking that subscribe button, the like button, and ringing that notification bell if you want to see more videos like this. I thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. I love you. Bye-bye.